like I'm going insane. I don't wanna be a problem, but my self-control's a losing game when the venom's in my veins. Yeah, you know me, making friends with all my demons, never lonely. Self-destructive and I know it, but it's only a matter of time before I'm out of my mind. I wish that I could rewind. I don't know when I became somebody I don't recognize. I swear to God I never saw this coming. I never thought I'd leave it all behind. I want it, don't need it, I had to realize. I hate it, I feed it, believe my own lies. I really think that I could use somebody to bring me back to life. Making friends with all my demons, never lonely. Self-destructive and I know it, but it's only a matter of time before it's flatline. Vital signs, can I be revived? Can I be revived? I don't know when I became somebody I don't recognize. I swear to God I never saw this coming. I never thought I'd leave it all behind. I want it, don't need it, I had to realize. I hate it, I feed it, believe my own lies. I really think that I could use somebody to bring me back to life. Somebody to bring me back to life. I wish I would've met you. Now it's a little late. What you could've taught me, I could've saved some face. They think that your early ending was all wrong. For the most part, they're right, but look how they all got strong. That's why I say, hey man, nice shot. Good shot, man. That's why I say, hey man, nice shot. Good shot, man. That's why I say amen, I shot. A good shot, man. That's why I say amen, I shot. What a good shot, man.
How we doing, everyone?
Hello,
Doing
how are
good.
you?
Good, good. We'll give it
Hey,
another
so
minute after that awesome music. We'll give it another minute for other people to join. Usually we get people joining about 3 to 5 minutes afterwards. Usually at about 40 to 50 around there. Thanks, Lake. You the man. All right, I got 3 passes, so we'll get it rolling. So everybody, welcome to Wednesday Winners. This is where every Wednesday, except for the last Wednesday of the month, that we get together and we talk about the intricacies of the business, and anywhere from phone scripts to objection handling to today, we're going to be covering the financial analysis and how to utilize that. Not so much as a tactic, it is a tactic, but it's also to bring to light the client what their budget's going to be, but also be able to utilize and tell stories. Okay, stories are what sell, facts are what tell. Okay, that comes from Jared Leifert. I will remember that to all the way through my career. It's, you know, because it's so important to tell stories to get clients to understand what we're trying to do, because this is an emotional sale backed by logic. You have to bring out the emotion in order for them to want to protect their family. And that's weird as it sounds, you know, that why wouldn't they want to protect their family? And most people think of it as an added bill. And that's where they're wrong. I always tell clients that they're wrong for thinking that way. At the end of meetings, when I get an objection where they say, well, you know, we just don't need the added extra bill, Mark, I will say to them, it is not an added bill. It's an investment into the future of your spouse. We all pride ourselves on what we do for our family when we're here on earth. We all pride ourselves about the home that we can provide, the nice shiny toys for the kids, the cars for the wife, the handbags, the, you know, whatever it may be. We pride ourselves, but we never stop to think about what kind of position we're going to leave them in when we're gone, right? I don't think anybody thinks about that on a daily basis of, if I drop dead tomorrow, what kind of position is my wife going to be in? Or vice versa for the husband, or the kids for that matter, family members, the next living relative, because the next living relative will be responsible for their debt. So we have to tell stories, and we have to utilize all the tools that are at our disposal. And that one of the main ones that I use is the financial analysis. Okay. And the way now, if you think, a lot of people say to me, a lot of new agents will say to me, well, Mark, I just really don't feel comfortable talking about a person's finances. If you make it weird, then it's going to be weird. Okay. If you go in with confidence in your delivery, then it won't be weird. Okay. And the way I started off is, you know, I'll do my rapport building. The camera comes on. I'll give you kind of an example. The camera comes on. I'm still waiting for their sound to dial in, and I'll give them a little wave, let them know I'm here. If they start talking, I'll do this. Okay, I can't hear you yet. And that'll get them to look at their microphone, maybe turn it on. If they have any issues, I'll give them a call and I'll help walk them through it and get them on. Then I'll go through a little bit of, hey, how you guys doing today? Oh, we're doing great. How about yourself? Well, I'm living the dream. Well, it's more like a nightmare, but it's my dream nonetheless. You know, it's kind of a little joke to start it off. And then I'll say, no, but seriously. And then I'll start talking about anything and everything. It doesn't matter. I'll say to them, well, I took my I just got back from taking my daughter to the zoo. What an amazing time. I love the position that we're in. We get to help families, but we also get to still spend time with our family. And I took her to the zoo today. I will tell you, it was amazing. What does that do? It gets them to open up. It humanizes you, okay? Shows that you have children and that you're a family man or woman, for that matter. And it gets them to open up about their kids if they have them. Why do you want them to open up about their kids? $1 million babies. So there's all these tools that we utilize, and it's sayings that we use to get information from the client, get them talking. Now, a person is not going to buy from someone that they don't like and they don't trust. So you have a very short amount of time to gain their trust. And how do you gain their trust other than being authentic? Okay. That's all I do. I'm just authentic. The selling system that we have in front of us, the financial analysis, well, that was designed by somebody else. I didn't design it. I just used it and perfected it for me. The PowerPoint presentation, that was designed by somebody else. All the sayings that we use, all the way that the whole entire system from what you're doing of your PowerPoint is all set up by somebody else. We just bring our own personality to it, our authenticity to it. That's all it is, okay? So I will start the meeting by gaining the rapport, do a little wave, gain the rapport, build the emotion. Now I want to find out their why. Why are we sitting down today to get protection for the family? Why is it important to them? Then I'll say, okay, let's get down to brass taxes. And I use that term every single time because I want to cut it off. If you get someone that likes to tell too many stories or talk about their family too much, you'll run on and run on and run on. So you want to cut it down and you want to say, all right, let's get the brass taxes. This meeting is set up in 3 ways, 3 parts. The first part, we're going to review the medical portion. Now, Tim, I know we talked about it on the phone already, but the carriers require us to go over that just to make sure that we have everything 100%. That way we can make sure we're getting you into the correct product. The second part of the meeting is going to be a financial analysis. This is not meant to be intrusive. I'm not going to ask you for any account numbers. We're just going to do a small budget. 1, because I want to make sure that we are fitting within your budget. But 2, I want to make sure that, we're not over-insuring anybody. Okay. Then the third part is simply, we'll go over the different options that I've put together for you today. And you guys will just decide what makes the most sense to you to protect your family. Does that sound fair? Now, here's where you're going to get objections, right? Well, we're not ready to do anything today. And then you cut the meeting short. You can say, well, hey, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your seriousness level about putting something in place for your family? We're at about a 5. All right, great. Because I'm not an insurance, I'm not a quoting tool. I'm an insurance advisor. I work for you. I work with you to make sure that we are putting something in place that does fit the budget, but again, ultimately protects your family. But if it's just quotes you're looking for, well, then you can go to many online tools and get a whole bunch of quotes. I work for 25 carriers, over 180 different plans. I could shoot 180 different quotes to you. Okay. Trey, do you have a question?
Hey, yeah, real quick. Wanted to know if you get to that client where they're not going to make a decision today as a new agent, would you go ahead and still run that meeting so you can gain that experience, or should you save your time and try to book somebody else?
Save your time and book somebody else. I would end the call just like I'm telling you to do right now. I would, if they say that we're at a 5, hey, I don't want to waste your time. If we're not ready to move forward today, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm an advisor. I work for you. I'm going to advise you into the right product because there's many products out there. I could give you 180 different quotes if you'd like, but it doesn't make sense if we're not putting you in the right one. And that's my job, to make sure that we have the best benefits and the best pricing. Okay. And then, so I would say, listen, when you guys get to a level of, 8 or 9, give me a call back. Then I'll go to work for you. But I just don't think it's advantageous for us to move forward today. And then I'll end the call. Then I'll get on. Now I've already had an hour time slot for them, in my calendar. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to book 2 more people in their place. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. So after I tell them, after the third portion is that we're going to just simply go over all the different options that we have, and then we'll move forward to filling out the application for the pre-approval process once you decide on a product. Does that sound fair? They say that sounds fair. We're moving forward, right? But everything I've done so far has been pretty much telling them that we're going to be filling out applications today. So we're planting seeds, okay? Now, so I go, all right, let's get to the first portion. The first portion is to review the medical. Let me share my screen with you. And I'll share my screen. This is what they're going to see. And why do I share the screen? Again, the delivery. Remember we talked about where other agents say they don't feel comfortable with going over the financial analysis or talking about financial analysis or their finances. This just transitions right into it. So you bring up this form and you start talking about their medications. We're keeping them engaged at the same time as well. So, all right, Tim, let's go over. And you can, if you've already gained a lot of their information, you can already have this pretty much typed up, like lisinopril and how many milligrams and frequency and what it's taken for. Now, at the end of going through Tim and Tina's, is there anything else that you can think of that would raise a red flag when they do a medical information bureau check or a prescription check? No? Okay, great. That wraps up the first portion. Let's go right into the next portion, which is the financial analysis. Now, here's how you diffuse or have a better delivery, more confident delivery in starting the financial analysis. Joe, Sharon, that's what's up there right now. Joe, Sharon, I'm sure you can understand that what you do for work can change the outcome or change the dynamic of what you get qualified for. I'm sure you can understand that if you were a professional skydiving instructor versus an insurance agent who sits behind the desk, well, the professional skydiving instructor might have to pay a little bit more. So, Joe, what do you do for work? I'm a truck driver. Okay, that's not really dangerous. Not too dangerous. You're not a skydiving instructor. All right. And then, Sharon, what do you do for work? I'm an RN. Excellent. All right, Joe, what's your contribution to the household income after taxes on a monthly basis? You notice how I didn't say, how much do you make a month? I said, what's your contribution to the household income after taxes on a monthly basis? Oh, it's about $4,000. Excellent. All right. And Sharon, same question. What's your contribution? It's about $2,000. Not $20,000, $2,000. All right. And then what I've done, guys, is I have already assessed your home. We have a database of every home in the country. And so what I valued your home at, this may be a little bit older. It might not be up to date, but I have it valued at $410,000. Would you say that's what your appraisal was? Now, we don't have a database. What we do have is, what's the word? Zillow, right? So if you just search the address, it pops up Zillow and it'll tell you how much the home value is, or, whatever other real estate pages might tell you the value. So you can get the home value. They're going to tell you, well, yeah, 410 sounds about right. That's what it was appraised at. Or they're going to tell you what it was appraised at. And then you have the loan amount already on the form. So you say, okay, your loan amount is $355,000. That means you have $55,000 in equity. Remember, guys, we want to make sure that, and especially when you get into your older ages, like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it gets to be expensive for insurance just based upon the risk classification of age alone. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're giving your family options to protect that equity. And you already have $55,000. Now, picture 10 years from now, you're going to have a lot more than that. And that's going to be your backup insurance plan. So you want to make sure that when we get to the part about talking about the pricing and the coverage, we just want to make sure we have enough coverage to give your family options, but also protect the equity in the home. So what did I do there? If we have somebody that, when we go through the financial analysis and they don't have a great budget to work with, I'm letting them know it's okay to pick a lesser amount. Or if we have somebody who is challenged as far as medical conditions, they might have some medical conditions that only allow mortgage payment protection. Well, now we've set that seed in their brain that they don't have to necessarily have $410,000 in coverage. We want to make sure that they have enough to protect the equity in the home. Okay. Now, then I'll start moving into, okay, I already have your mortgage payment. That was about $2,300. Okay, and then guys, what's your heat, hot water, and electricity bill? You can total it all up. So I used to go line by line. I don't anymore. And then they'll just total it up, 300. All right, and then what's your cell phone bill? 210. Oh, you guys have the family plan. I see. You know, we all know what a single phone would be, but why did I say that? You must have the family plan because they're going to say, yes, I got my daughter and my son. We're opening up the ability for them to talk about the fact, again, that they have children, and that goes for $1 million babies or IULs to set them up for the future. We're gathering information so that we can utilize in the future, okay? Building our book of clients. All right, and then what's your car payments? Well, we have 2 cars. They're about 300, so that's 600 each, 600 for both. What's your car insurance? It's about $210. And that's, I'll say again, okay, a family plan again, right? Yeah, our daughter, she just turned 16. We put her on there. Excellent. Okay, great. Now, I always tell clients this, you know, Joe and Sharon, it's amazing about car insurance, right? Because we will pay it no matter what it is, right? It's our right to drive in the United States. But in order to drive in the United States, we have to put insurance on a vehicle. And that insurance is designed to protect total strangers from liability. So we'll pay it no matter what it is to protect strangers. What would we pay to protect the person that we love? I'm glad we're getting together today to talk about that and make sure that we get your family protected. So again, it just put a seed in their brain about the car insurance and that they'll pay no matter what for total strangers, but what are they going to pay for the person that they love to protect their future? All right, and then I'll say things like, all right, on the food, especially with the inflation and everything, I know my bill went from, I was usually spending around $130 a week as a single father, you know, and me and my daughter, probably about $130 a week. It's just almost climbed to $160, $170 a week. And all I do is buy the same thing. And it gets them talking even more. And you're just, again, you're humanizing yourself, but you're also letting them open and tell stories. And you kind of find out what their views are political without asking what their political views are. They're going to start talking about what gets them angry. Food, so let's say it's 400. Okay, then the cable bill. Oh, it's about $275. Oh my goodness. Now, Joe, Sharon, I was in telecom for 22 years. You must be renting a lot of cable boxes and stuff, right? Did you know that what you can do to lower your bill is just pay for the internet service and then use the streaming services to your TV instead of renting all those boxes? And you'll probably drop it down to about $99 a month. Are you serious? Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you need any help with that, give me a call. I'll after this and we'll talk about that. But what am I doing? I'm showing them how to lower their bill so that they have more money to put towards their insurance. Subliminally planting seeds. Okay. Now, credit card payments. This is a trust factor. I'm going to say to them, I don't need to know your total debt. That's not my business. What I do need to know is if you make a reoccurring monthly payment towards credit cards and what that may be. Oh, we spend about $200 a month. Okay, great. Health insurance, is that paid through for the companies or do you have to pay, out of pocket? Oh, it's paid by the companies. Excellent. How about vehicle gas? Again, especially at the prices and the inflation. That's about 400. Okay. Anything miscellaneous? Anything that I'm not thinking of? Is there any type of other insurance plans that you have in place? Any hobbies that you have? Sharon, do you go to Starbucks every week? And yeah, I go to Starbucks every week. How much do you generally spend on that? $50. Okay, $50 a week in coffee, Sharon? Oh my goodness, right? I've actually used this when we went to a person and they were trying to find the money. They wanted the coverage, but they were trying to find the money in the budget. I said to Sharon, what if we cut down on that cup of coffee that's hurting you? Because coffee's not good for you. But what if we cut down on that cup of coffee and put a little bit more towards your insurance? Wouldn't that help? And then you see Joe look at Sharon and go, yeah, I think that would help. So then she goes, I guess we could do that. And that it just helps out. So you're showing them how to, without being a financial expert, how to cut corners in their budget. All right, so now I'll say, okay, So we have about $1,055 left over at the end of every month. Does that sound about right? Well, yeah, it sounds great on paper. It always does, right? I mean, I'm sure there's miscellaneous things that we're not thinking of. So let's shave off another $100 a month, and we're just going to call it $955 that you have at the end of every month. So the good thing is we have something to put towards your insurance. But again, remember, we don't want it to change your standard of living to where it becomes uncomfortable. So keep that in mind when we're looking at the products that I'm going to present to you in just a minute. Is there any other additional policies that you have? Anything else to offset the mortgage? And again, this is the safe money questions. This is to find any additional products that we might be able to do for ancillary services, but it's also utilized to combat the fact that they have life insurance already to avoid the objection. So everything in your presentation is about handling objections up front. So what we're going to say is there anything else that you have that would offset the mortgage, like maybe a 401k, maybe a Roth IRA, maybe any type of annuities, variable, anything like that? Well, I have a $25,000 policy through State Farm. So I'll write down 25K. I'll do State Farm, and then I'll say, okay, well, Sharon, I'm sure you realize, I'm sure you probably had that designed for burial services, right? Yes, okay. And then I'll just put a little FE here, right? All right, so we don't want that to be utilized to go towards the home because then they're not going to have the money to put the burial services in, right? Correct. All right, so now we've assigned a purpose to that policy. Joe, how about yourself? What do you have? I have a $50,000 policy through my work. Awesome. That's good. I always, you know what, Joe? I always tell people that that's great to have it through work. It is a great backup. Because, I'm sure you know, that when you quit, get fired, or retire, you no longer have it. Sometimes when you retire, Joe, they allow you to take it with you, but they're going to quote you at the age that you're at and any ailments that you have at that point, and it's going to be astronomical. So I'm glad we're meeting today to get something that's going to be put in place going forward, that when you're 70 years old and retiring, you'll still be paying prices of a 40-year-old. Okay, excellent. So that's about it, guys. All right, great. So we have something to put towards it. We're not going to be over-insuring it on you guys. You have a couple of policies. So let me move into my next slide, which is going to be the presentation. Okay. Now, I forgot that I do one other thing, which is really important, is that when you get down to this portion here and you're saying we have something left we have something left over, you want to now turn and say, well, let's take a look at what it looks like, Joe, if we were to take your income away. Sharon, you'd be $2,945 in the hole. You would not be able to afford that home on your own. So, Joe, it might make a little bit more sense. The common misconception, Joe and Sharon, is that when people are getting life insurance, they think that if you have $100,000, I need to have $100,000. And that's not necessarily the case. I'm going to show you guys a couple of different options in a minute, but it makes more sense to protect the person that stands to be hurt the most. So, Joe, if we put your income back in and we were to take out Sharon's, you're about $945 in the hole. Not so bad. So it might be more advantageous to put a higher dollar figure on you to protect her and maybe a smaller dollar figure on her to protect you so that you can get by, right? But mainly making sure that she's okay to pay off the home and maybe some income after the fact, right? Does that make a little bit of sense? That makes a lot of sense. Okay, great. That's huge when you take that away. It's going to show them on black and white that, she's going to be in a bad way. Okay. And then you're also giving them the option to not feel so embarrassed, because guys naturally don't want to tell their wife that they're cheap and they want to go with the least expensive product, right? But he does realize that he's going to have to put in a little bit more for him to protect her, but you're giving him the out to say, you know what? Yeah, it does make sense. And it's cost effective if I put a smaller policy on her to protect me, because I'll kind of be okay. Does that make sense, everybody? So it's just it's such a key portion. Now, when I get to this and down here of asking the safe money questions, and they say, maybe they say they have a $25,000 annuity. Okay. And, or they have a money market account, or they have whatever. I'll say, you know what, my stepfather, he had a 401k. It was about $25,000 as well. And when we were talking insurance with him, you know, he got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It's a flesh-eating cancer, and it's eating apart his whole entire shoulder blade. So you can actually see the bone, his skin, his muscle is all deteriorated. You can see his bone. We don't know how long he has left, but he decided to approach me for insurance after all of this has taken place. And, you know, the good news is, guys, I can still get him approved, but $20,000 would be $550 a month for him. And they can't afford that, you know, and that would be just, I would make them insurance poor for just for $20,000. So we took that $25,000 and we put it into a fixed index annuity. A fixed index annuity is guaranteed to do two things. It's either going to go up or it's going to stay the same. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, Joan, Sharon. So also keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and move forward. Now, again, planting a seed, because they're going to start talking about these things as we get to the pricing in the PowerPoint presentation. When we get to the PowerPoint presentation, and they're going to see the prices, especially if it's mortgage payment protection, and the prices are a little bit more higher, they're going to see that and they're going to start talking, looking at each other going, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. And then we'll maybe talk about the annuity. Maybe they have some money to put towards that, because that's going to be a death benefit left behind to the wife in the event of passing, or, you know, or the husband's going to be able to use the cash value if he should choose, if she passes away before him, you know. So multiple ways to skin a cat. And that's how you have to make sure you're using this financial analysis to gather all that information so that you can pivot during the meeting. Okay. So that's kind of how I utilize the analysis. I tell stories. I show them the intricacies of what happens if you take away their money. I show them that, you know, keep them engaged through the whole thing, but my delivery is the most important part. My delivery is just flowing right into it and not thinking that it's being intrusive or having that, like making it a big deal that I'm asking them about their finances. To me, it's not a big deal anymore. I've had, in the last 2 years, I think I've had one guy say to me, I'm not giving you that information. Not a problem. We don't have to do that. You're going to know and I'll just pivot. Not a problem. We don't have to do all that. You're going to know your budget better than I would. But as a financial advisor, this is what we do to make sure that we get everything 100%, that we are putting you in the right product and we're designing it specifically for you. But if you don't want to go ahead and do that, John, no problem. Not a problem. You're going to know your budget better than me. Let's go ahead and move forward. Okay. All right. So now this comes the time where we will open it up for not financial advisor. Right. I'm not a financial advisor, insurance advisor. Insurance advisor. Remember that, not a financial advisor. Okay, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Financial strategist. Can't we say that?
No. Lake said no. Not a financial, insurance advisor.
Professional. Insurance.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? I just went through a lot of information. I know a lot of people have wanted to have this. I've sent it out multiple times into the agency thread. I'll send it out again into the agency thread after the meeting. But, you know, I went over a lot of information on how to utilize it so that you can have that tool to help you guys succeed. Any questions at all?
Yes, Mark.
Go ahead, Allison.
I am wondering, do you keep these for each person, or do you delete it and do it over every single time?
Let me minimize all this here. I've got a ton of stuff opened up already, but I will have, I don't know what all this stuff is. Let's see if I can get it here. But I have my completed cases, okay? And I have a file here for every single person, right? So if you click on these people right here, there's their worksheet right there, there's their PowerPoint presentation, and there's their lead. Okay, if there's any other additional information that I may need to do, like, you know, any amendments or anything like that, it all goes into a file. I keep a file for every single client, and that's because we are required to for 3 years. Good question, though.
I have a quick question. I was looking for my reactions thing. You said you used to go through it line by line, but now you don't. So
On the on like heat, hot water, and electricity, like I won't, because if you do, what I found is that what's your heat? Well, she pays that, and I'm not sure. Tina, what's that? And what about the hot water? Well, he pays that, and then you just say, what's your heat, hot water, and electricity on an average combined? It kind of generalizes it, and so we're not trying to get exact bills. If they start, well, let me get up and go get that stuff.
Yeah.
No, guys, no. This is just a a general budget, just to make sure that, again, that it fits within the budget, but we're also making sure that we're not over-insuring you. So on an average, what do you think you spend? Right? You see how the delivery kind of diffuses it a little bit more, doesn't make that it's so serious, and we're not asking them for account numbers and things like that. So you just want to be general about your delivery.
okay, and the first time I actually used your sheet, because I was kind of just doing, I had not done it before recently until after conference. Actually, I used to do an analysis, and I would get the information in general, just saying like, what are your monthly bills, what is your mortgage payment, and what do you owe, this, that, and the other. And I would kind of go over that, touch base with them, but yet did not do yours. I think it was honestly just because I tried to do it a long time ago and got shut down. So that's my bad, because when I did, I started seeing their facial expressions and how it really, like, it started striking a chord with them, like, oh man, she's going to be really in a bind if she's left with nothing. So that helped, but I did something wrong when I was in there. And so it wasn't adding it up for me the way it should. So
GTS. It'll teach you how to do, you can just Google search formulas, right? And it'll show you how to just do addition, subtraction, or how to auto sum a column or things like that. So I can also send, like I said, at the end of this, I'll send it over with all the formulas in it already, and you can just use that.
well, that's what I used. I think I just put, it was the first time I was using your form, because you put it in there after conference. So I was using your form. I put something somewhere that screwed up the
formula. Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, and that's when Jason Wells comes into play. He's over there somewhere. He can fix anything. He's my IT guy. But
Right.
no, but I'll just slide it over. Jason is actually working on something where it's going to flow a lot better too. But we'll roll that out later on once he's done with that. But Holly, go ahead. Holly, you're on mute.
So you said that we were required to
You're
keep the
required- as a
PowerPoint and the
business, you're required
worksheet
to keep
and the
documents.
sheets that we have.
Yeah, as a business, you are required, and this is just depending upon the state. It's state law in North Carolina that in a business you have to keep forms for 3 years on your clients. Now, do you have to keep the PowerPoint presentation? I would, and the reason I would is because it's going to have the carrier, the cost. So when that client calls you back a year from now or 2 years from now, wanting help with something else, or maybe they want to get into a different product, you know what you already put them into, and it'll kind of help you refresh your memory. So I keep everything: PowerPoint presentations, any type of amendments. I've gotten to recently to when you're done with the application and you have the client sign it. And then it comes back to you in your email for you to sign with Foresters Mutual of Omaha, you can download the signed copy, and I throw that into their file as well. That way, now I have all the information that I need. Okay, so just another tip that I just started doing recently. I don't know why I didn't do it before. It's just I happened to view and it said download, and I said, you know what? Why don't I just start doing that? So it helps. Okay, any other questions? Lake, you got anything to add?
Hey, buddy, just great job. What I was trying to tell agents on our last call, on our team call with Alvarez Agency, is it's all about packaging. And if you can imagine that you're delivering a package to someone and these are the contents, that's how you're going to get your most successful sales. They're pulling out of, you're building a picture for them to actually see, because most of us are visual learners, right? And so to have them follow along, that's what you need to do. It keeps them engaged. So great job. I have nothing to improve on that.
I
Good
appreciate it.
man.
But it's again, that comes from all the agents prior to me that have trained me over the years. It's all compiled into that. I added a few things I do a few things differently, but you guys got to remember that what we do on these Wednesday winners, on the 30K call, on the live dials, your upline is going to have a way for you to do things, because that's how they work and they know you better than I would, right? So before you make any changes, always communicate with your upline. But you have to understand that the reason we're giving you all of these different views is because everybody learns differently, number one. Everybody's personality is different, number two. So what might work for Lake might not work for me. What might work for Zach might not work for me. What might work for Angel might not work for me, right? So this is the reason that we do all of this, is so that you can see and then add in your own flair, who you are, your personality into a system that is already set for you. And you can tweak here and there, but keep the basics the way that they're supposed to be. Don't go try to reinvent the wheel. Just put your authenticity into it, your personality into it, and that will help. Okay. So I guess if there's no, Kim, do you have another question?
Right. It's not much of a question, but something that you've pointed out before. So is Lake, when I've watched some of his stuff, but I think it is super helpful. When you had mentioned before, like maybe the husband starts speaking up about something and you have already taken away his income. And you're like, well, sorry, Ted, but you're actually dead, so you can't talk. I like when you said that, because I was never brazen enough, I think, to say it, but then I did try it and it worked. So
yeah, that's and thank you for bringing that up. So trying to get through this in 30 minutes, but the way when I do a financial analysis, the basics are the same. The stories and the way I do things will change depending upon the client and how much they're engaged, or what the situation is, or how much information that they've given to me. But one of the key things that is so huge is that getting them to see what would happen if one or the other were to pass away. You can use it on the financial side, or you can just straight out ask them. So let me share my screen again, and I'll give you an example of how I use it depending upon the client. So I'll say, Joe, if we took your money away, Sharon, that would put you $2,945 in the hole. So let me ask you a question. If Joe were to pass away, let's say he passed away yesterday. What does the next 30 days look like for you, knowing that you just lost his income and you're going to be in the hole $2,945? What does the next 30 days look like for you? Joe, you can't talk right now. You just died. So Sharon, tell me about what the next 30 days look like for you. I will give you an example of, I went into and then I'll do the same to Sharon as well. And so I went into how do I stop you here? Stop, Sharon. Okay. I went into a meeting and I had this big, burly, bald, tattoos up his neck into the back of his head. He had white eyes, the contacts. And then his wife was this small, petite little girl, right? But this guy was just jacked, and he scared me. Look, I'm afraid. I know I'm on camera right now, but it scared me. And I prejudged. And I said that there's no way that these people are buying insurance from me. No way that he's going to let that happen. And I asked, let's call it Tina. I said to Tina, what would the next 30 days look like for you? And she started crying. I don't want to think about that. He's my life. He's everything to me. And now you just kind of, you have to be empathetic and you have to lower your tone. Oh my goodness. Tim, look at how much she loves you. Oh my goodness. I can feel it from over here. You are a lucky man. Absolutely lucky man. God bless you guys. The love, I can feel it all. I'm glad we're getting together today to protect each other. But Tim, let me ask you the same question. If Sharon were to pass away yesterday, what does the next 30 days look like for you? This guy was sitting there like this, all scary looking. He just unfolded his arms and he just kind of started doing this. And he's like, I don't know, Mark. I don't know what I would do because she's my rock. She's my everything. And at that point, I wanted to shut off my camera and just kind of go, yeah. You know, so, but it was like, at that point, I knew that they were going to protect each other. And that's the ultimate goal. We're here to protect them in the best way possible. But so you never prejudge a client. You use these stories and you use these tools that we're giving you. And it has such an impact to the right client who's serious. If it is the wrong client and they're not serious and they're still going to sit there with their arms folded and you know they're not going to, and at the end they go, well, you know what, Mark, we need to think about this. We need at least a couple of days to think about this, blah, blah, blah. And you've done all your objection handling up front. You've gone over the financial analysis. You've told stories. And I still get them too, guys. They're not your client. You emotionally detach yourself from the outcome and say, all right, guys, see you later, please. All right, next one. Get on to the next one. Find the people, get through the no's. You know, Athena Runyon said it today, and I love that book, Go for No. Get through the no's to get to the yeses. Get through the no's as fast as possible to get through the yeses. Don't spend time dwelling on clients that could be, get to the ones who are going to be. And I have a stack of papers that's about this thick of the think about it, the reschedules, and I'll get back to them on my time. Not their time, my time. I'm going to get to the ones who just filled out the forms of the leads that I just purchased because those are the new ones. Those are the ones that I got to get to now. Those are the clients who are waiting. They're not waiting anymore. They already met with me or they had their chance to meet with me. I want to get to the ones that I can meet with, that are looking to meet with me, that want to protect. But most importantly, never prejudge a client. Never. If they're 78 years old, a 78-year-old man, 50,000 10-year term was $575. And he goes, well, can't take it with me. Might as well make sure she's okay. Let's go ahead and sign me up. Now, Foresters took 2 weeks to approve him because they were like, well, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. Finally, I got him approved. And then he goes, Mark, I want to thank you for your tenacity. I want to thank you for going to bat for me and getting me approved. Now that I'm approved, can I have more? Yes, you can. Well, write me another 50. That guy, that was 2 years ago. This guy is still paying it today. $1,000. Oh, it's actually $1,200 total. $1,200 a month for $100,000 at 78 years old. Crazy. So find the people that want it. Emotionally detach yourself from the people who don't. And just keep pushing, guys. Utilize all the tools that we have available to us. Reach out to your upline if you have any questions. Before you make any changes, reach out to your upline. Most importantly, just go to work. Because that's all it is. Because actually, Lake and I call it, we talk about it all the time, we call it fun. We can't call this work. It's fun. You know, what I did before, 70, 80 hours a week, you trying to make somebody else rich, that was work. You know, this is just fun. So, everybody, go attack and have fun. I'll see you all later. Oh, wait, Leah, do you have a question? I'm sorry, I missed it. Go ahead, Leah, real quick.
I did have a question. Thank
ahead.
you, Mark. My question is, do you use this financial analysis when you are looking at other types of leads like IULs and things like that? Have you used this financial analysis for that too?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna redesign it because when it comes to an IUL, I don't need to know their heat, hot water, electricity. I'm gonna revamp it to find out, you know, what they have investments, what their portfolio looks like, where they're looking to invest, how they want to design it for them, and kind of put in notes for there. So I haven't really dialed in. I do a lot of IULs, but more on the mortgage protection side. People that are saying, well, Mark, what happens when the term runs out? I'm glad you asked. I have an IUL for you, but when it comes to straight up IUL, people looking for wealth building, cash building policies, I'm diving into it now. So I think this is something that we're all going to be learning together. We'll come up with stuff, but I think that it's going to be a key factor for me to have those notes, to be able to jot them down, to be able to save them for each client, to know what I put them in, to know how I designed it. So that way in a year when I'm doing a review, or 2 years when I'm doing a review, I can resort back to it and know what I put them into and how I did design it for them. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put that together soon and roll it out to everyone. All right, everybody have a good night. Let's go crush the this whole entire month. I know what my goals are. You all know what your goals are. If you don't know what your goals are, set them. Set one, because man, I'll tell you, if you don't have one, then you're not going to achieve anything. Go set a goal and beat it. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mark, so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.